Oh, good afternoon. Could you tell me the name of your safeguarding officer, please?
I don't actually know it. Do you want to speak to somebody, or was it an ongoing matter?
It's not an ongoing matter, no. I would like to speak to someone, but it does say in your children's safeguarding policy that you have a named safeguarding officer, so I thought you might know it.
On switchboards, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, pop me through then, thank you.
Are you one of the congregations?
No, I'm not. I'm just, no, thank you.
Making an inquiry?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, one moment, please.
Thank you.
Hello there, this is the legal department.
Oh, hello. Could you give me the name of the safeguarding officer, please?
Okay, I'll just see if there's someone available to take your call.
Thank you. More music.
Legal desk, how can I help?
Oh, good afternoon. Could you give me the name of your safeguarding officer, please?
You're speaking to one of the safeguarding elders in the branch at the moment.
Oh, hello. What's your name, please?
We're not in a position to give our names. We can give a desk reference.
Oh, okay. Give me a desk reference then.
It's LEH.
LEH. Now, that's interesting because I work in a school as an assistant head teacher, and every school has a named safeguarding officer, and my safeguarding officer is called Jill Dillon, and that's really important because people need to know who to report to. So I'm just wondering, do you not have a named safeguarding officer?
Well, we have, as I said, we have safeguarding elders appointed in the branch who have desk references, so you can contact me every time you come back.
But they don't have names.
Not that it's the branch policy that we don't hand out names over the phone.
Right, but people are allowed to know their names.
Well, I'd have to double check with my supervisor on that case.
Right,
So,
okay.
find out who you are.
Okay. Yes, my name's Louise Good. So what I'm interested in is you have a child safeguarding policy, don't you? Am I allowed to have a copy of that, please?
Yeah, if you'd like to.
That'd be brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
Will you email it or post it?
Whereabouts do you live?
Well, if you want my email, I can give you that, and if you want my address, I can give you that.
Because what we usually do is we'd ask you to contact the local congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and then they'll be able to hand it to you.
Right, so they'd give me a paper copy, would they? Would they give me a paper copy?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I just didn't hear you. Okay, so I know where the local congregation is, so I would need to contact one of those elders, and they'd have a spare one, would they, to give me?
Well, I could call them in advance and get them to have one ready for you.
Right, so you can't issue that child safeguarding policy yourself?
You just let me put you on hold.
Okay,
With colleagues.
thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. can't stand this music. It's getting right on my tits. Hello.
Hello, thank you for holding.
That's my pleasure.
The best way for us to be able to get you a copy and save you the hassle is if you send us a written request for it to our address, which I can give you in a minute, and then we can send you out a paper copy.
Written request. That's brilliant. I'll do that. I think I've actually got your address because I looked your number up on the internet, so I'll do that. Okay. So it's not something that you have published on your website, is it? Because you know all schools have their child safeguarding policy published on their website, so anybody can just download it. Okay.
It's something that we give by request, but it is available to anybody who requests it.
Right, that's brilliant, thank you. Now, a couple of questions that I just had about your safeguarding policy. I know a friend showed me it today, and it said in point 8 that anybody can phone up the safeguarding officer to ask a question. But there's a letter to the elders of October 1st, 2012. On paragraph 4, it says, the elders should not ask an alleged victim, the accused person or relatives of the victim or accused to call the legal department. And I just wondered, does that mean that they're not allowed to call the legal department?
Well, to begin with, do you mind if I ask who you represent and how you've been able to get copies of elders' letters?
Well, I think you already know that because you monitor all the websites, don't you? And I'm just an individual. I don't represent anybody. So I'm just doing my own research on this.
Okay, so how did you get hold of the confidential elders' letters?
Well, it's all publicly available, my lovely.
Okay.
So I just printed it off this afternoon. So it's October 1st, 2012, paragraph 4. It says the elders should not ask an alleged victim, blah, 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 to call the legal department. Does that mean that people aren't allowed to call the legal department?
I think the best thing for this situation is if you have any specific requests, that you can put them in writing with the request child safeguarding policy.
But both you and I know that won't be answered. It will just be ignored, which is why I'm phoning you. Well, it is true. So are you able to answer that then? Do you know, are people allowed to phone the legal department or aren't they?
Anybody's more than welcome to contact the legal department.
Right.
Ultimately, the best way that we can care for people in this situation is through the arrangement we have in place with local bodies of elders.
No, I understand that. But why would it say that an elder should ask them not to phone the legal department then? Is there a particular reason why a person would be discouraged from phoning the legal department?
Now, our general, to be honest, we only give legal advice to bodies of elders, let alone publishers, let alone...
I'm not asking for legal advice. I am actually a lawyer myself. I just wondered why the letter said the elders should not ask an alleged victim to call the legal department. I just wondered if that meant that they weren't allowed to, or just that they were perhaps discouraged from.
Well, probably, at the end of the day, we want things to be done decently and by arrangement. Now, if it goes through the system that we have set up, which is in the best interest of all involved, then it means it can be all handled in an orderly way, and the best way for anybody who's a victim or anybody who suffers in this way.
So they would be allowed to phone then? Despite an elder asking them not to phone, they would be allowed to phone?
It doesn't say they cannot phone, does it?
No, it doesn't. Good point. I was just clearing this up because obviously the Charities Commission are investigating this, and so are some MPs at the minute, and so I just wanted to get it clear whether they weren't allowed to or whether they were just discouraged from. I've got another question actually. On paragraph 13, It says, not every individual who has sexually abused a child in the past is considered a predator. It says the branch office, not the local body of elders, determines whether an individual who has sexually abused children in the past will be considered a predator. And I just wanted to ask you, what is the significance of being considered a predator compared to just being a child sexual abuser? Is there a difference?
To be honest, I don't want to continue this conversation over the phone anymore because
No.
I don't know who you are.
Well, my name is Louise Good. I am a teacher and I'm also a trained lawyer, so that's who I am. Who are you? I've got your reference LEH, and I presume, are you legally trained or are you just in the legal department?
I feel uncomfortable talking to you.
You don't want to tell me if you're legally trained or not?
I'm trained within this department, but I don't
Right.
want to carry this conversation.
Okay. So we don't know the difference between...
And at the end of the day, I feel uncomfortable discussing confidential elderly letters.
Well, that's not confidential. Whether somebody's a predator or a child sexual abuser is not confidential, is it? We're not talking about an individual. I'm not, for instance, discussing Eunice Spry or Rose West or Mark Sewell or William Rogers or John Rose or Oliver Connor or Robert Bill or William Abbott. That's just 5 out of a list of about 21 Jehovah's Witness child sexual abusers in the UK in the last 2 years. So I'm not discussing those individuals. I'm just asking generally, what is the significance of somebody being considered a predator, and how does the branch office decide as opposed to the local elders, and why don't the police decide?
Okay, well, as I said, I don't want to continue this conversation with you. If you could put any requests you have in writing in the letter, then we'll more than happily address them. But I don't feel comfortable continuing this conversation. So, like I said, any requests you have, both in writing with your request for the child safeguarding policy.
Can you promise me that my questions will be answered by letter, LEH?
I can promise you, if you send a letter in,
That those questions will be answered?
answer any questions that you have.
And is that because you don't know the answers and you need somebody else to answer them?
If I'm honest, it's because I don't feel comfortable in this conversation.
Why
I
not?
mean, I don't know whether you're recording the conversation.
Right. What difference would it make?
Because if we're going to be making official statements, we'd rather do it in the proper way.
Well, we're not making official statements. I'm just asking you a question.
And we'll happily answer that question if you send it to us in writing.
Right. Do you know what? I've known a lot of conversations like these, and you never give answers. You always say, send it in writing, and the answers never come. And I just wonder why that is. Why is the legal department unable to answer a straightforward question about a predator versus a child abuser?
Well, at the end of the day, you don't know me, and you...
Well, I know because you haven't given me your name, but it doesn't matter if I don't know you. Look, I've phoned up the Home Office and asked them difficult questions, and they answer my questions. I've phoned up my local MP and asked him difficult questions. He doesn't know me. We're not friends. We don't have tea together, but he answers my questions. It's not a case of knowing someone, is it? We don't need to know each other to answer straightforward questions. And I just find it odd that you've told me that you're the safeguarding officer. I work in a school and I have a safeguarding officer whose name is Jill Dillon, and when I ask her difficult questions about safeguarding issues about children in my school, she answers them. She doesn't say to me, Louise, I'm not comfortable answering your questions. You are the safeguarding officer. You told me that. Do you know that you should have safeguarding training and that there are legal duties on a safeguarding officer? Are you aware of that?
The reason that I said what I said is because we have our own branch protocol.
No, I understand that, but aside from that, the law of the land is that a safeguarding officer has safeguarding training. Have you had that training?
I have had that training.
Right, what does it consist of? That's confidential, right, okay. That's fine, it's confidential. The thing is, every other safeguarding officer in other churches and in schools and in other organisations are able to say what their safeguarding training is. It's not confidential, it's part of the law of the land.
Okay.
And I'm concerned that you're unable to answer any questions, including your name, or any questions about safeguarding. And I think that is quite possibly a breach of the law of England.
Okay, well, as I said before,
Put it in writing and you'll answer my questions. Okay.
the sentence I was saying was that you don't know me.
No, I don't need to know you. You're a safeguarding officer.
You don't know me. But what I was about to say is I'd like to think you trust the fact that if I promise we will reply to your letter,
Okay.
we will reply to your letter.
Okay, that is great. Thank you. And I'll put your reference on there. And I appreciate you defending for the Jehovah's Witness faith, but I do think there are some very serious issues here that need addressing.
Okay, well, again, please feel free to put those down so that we can address them for you properly.
Okay.
And
Okay, I'll do that. And if the answers aren't satisfactory, I shall phone you back, LEH, mystery man in London.
okay, well,
Thank you.
look forward to hearing from you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.